All right. Good afternoon, StreamYard and YouTube fans. I want you to see. Here's my hoops game. I want you to take a look. I have to tilt this down a little bit. As you see, I've separated all the cards so they're not in sheets anymore. And the next thing, as far as uh, deciding, as next thing really you would think would be to read the rules. Eh, yes and no. Uh, yes, you do eventually need to get to reading the rules, um, but a lot of times these days you can go on YouTube and watch like one of my videos or one of Steve Towers' videos or uh, Keith Avalon's videos on the game, and boom, you're ready to go. But this is this is a game you had to pre-order, so there's not many people's videos to take a look at as far as tutorials. I'm getting there as far as the tutorials go, but I'm not quite there yet. Um, but actually, reading the rules isn't the next step. The next step is, okay, I've got the game. Okay, I've looked at, I got all the parts. Everything's good to go. Uh, I've separated all the cards, but it's a game. So the next thing is, who's going to be in that first game, and why? You know, um, so the first team by far was pretty much a dead on lock, and that's the Cincinnati Royals, and that's pretty much because I I'm 15 minutes from downtown Cincinnati, so yeah. Um, I'll talk more about that in a second. Um, Boston. Okay. But uh, Boston, Detroit. Okay. Here's my other team, and I'll explain the reason why I chose this team in a second. But my second team is the Baltimore Bullets, and there's tons of ways that you could decide who your first opponents are. Um, you could go the Jesus. You could do go the traditional route. Dot, no dot. Dot, that team is a definite. No dot, go on to the next until you get two teams with dots, and then you have to roll again to decide who's the home team and who's the away team, type thing. Um, Another way you can do it is the fact that you could actually, uh, you know, Lakers, Celtics, simple, classic, go classic. You could do uh, Knicks. Well, I don't have those seasons, but you could go Knicks Nets type thing. Um, it's just it's just all dependent on you, of course. Uh, you're the key decider and factor on who plays who. Uh, rock, paper, scissors. I mean, the traditional 1, 2, 3 shoot type thing, you know, uh, in any way to determine. But for me, it was pretty simple. I chose Cincinnati because I live near Cincinnati. I'm, like I said, 15 minutes. Another reason why I chose Cincinnati, and I have to find him, is this guy right here, Oscar Robinson. My dad, I kid you not, my dad cannot stop talking about this guy and what a phenomenal player he was, not only in high school and in college and stuff, but in the pros as well. So that was pretty much a no brainer for me, you know. And that was team one, lock, done, and that's it. Now, this other one has a little explaining to do, and that's the Baltimore Bullets. Uh, I have to say that I've only been to one NBA game in my life, and that was back in 1983. I was a senior in high school. Uh, on our spring field trip, we went to DC and to New York. That was our uh, that was our spring break trip. It just so happened that when we went there that Friday night, one of our teachers or somebody found out, like the Bullets were at home and they were playing uh, at their home stadium in that. And so we went to see a Bullets Bucks game. Now, in '83, the Bullets had the worst record of any team in the NBA that year, and it was a Friday. It was a Friday. It was right around this time, back in March, and that, uh, like I said, the Bullets played the Milwaukee Bucks. They were the worst team in the NBA that season, and we went and we saw the Bullets and the Bucks. And I have to tell you, I was, kind of starstruck type thing. And I had a really hard time because you have that scoreboard like in the center, and I had to keep my eyes off of that because it was like watching big giant TV. And it's like that's not the reason why I came. I didn't come to watch big giant TV, so I had to try to focus my attention down on the gym, and I had a hard time with it. Uh, the other thing is they had one of those promo nights, and they had one of those, you know, half court free throw tries, and they had the winner actually, if they could shoot it, would have won a catamaran that night. I couldn't tell you. I can't remember if they actually did that or not. Um, but they had like a catamaran at halftime, and they had one of those half court free throw shots. And the funny thing about it is the Baltimore Bullets at the time actually won the game. So the home team won the game. The other thing about that is that the Milwaukee Bucks wound up in the playoffs that year. So it was nice to see the home team play the home team actually win in that, and the fact that the visiting team wound up in the playoffs was really neat. Um, and I actually checked this team out a little bit, and they actually were in the playoffs this particular year. So that's should be a good thing. Um, well, and then after you selected your teams, what what's the next step? The next step, well, you might want to just look and compare and contrast the cards um, to see who you think's going to possibly win, that kind of stuff. Um, I mean, you can just go. I mean, you can just check out the Buddy Jeanette, and there's his coaching card, and it shows you the energized, the complacent, and the sink. Um, and then Jack McMahon, he's got sink, energized, and complacent. And I noticed that both of these have, if you look, just by comparing them, and this is the first time I'm actually comparing them in that, I noticed that both of them, if you roll a 2, nothing happens. Um, but you got the 3 through 11. So if you roll a 2 and a 12, nothing really happens. That's one thing I noticed just by looking at these two coaches' cards for the just for the first time. Um, and then here's a guy that played for Cincinnati, but he's better known as a Laker than he is for playing for Cincinnati, and that's Jerry Lucas. And I'm assuming that the top 3 refer to offense and the bottom 3 refer to defense. All the ones that have underlying the words underline like power and grab and snag and push means that's an successful attempt, and that pretty much you get a 2-point conversion on that type of thing. That's the other thing with this particular the 64, 65. There wasn't really any 3-pointers then, which makes the game a little bit more interesting. Uh, but these are my 2 teams. Uh, then the next thing becomes, well, who's the home team and who's the away team? Well, I figured since Baltimore was at home when I went and saw them in Baltimore, that that they would be the home team for this, and so that means that Cincinnati will be our visiting team. And no, Chris, yes, a little bit you were a factor for this, but really it's more the fact that I did see my only NBA game happened to be a Baltimore game, just by sheer coincidence. That's the reason why I chose the Bullets. Okay. Then that takes care of who we play. And that takes care of game 1. And that will pretty much do it for this particular video, because the next step is actually reading the rules, and I'll talk about that in part 3 of this. Yes, I'm taking this slow, guys, but that's because I want to make sure that this is done right. Um, you know, it, and I'll talk about uh, you know, reading the rules next, because that is the next step. But that's what I've got for you. And it's today I showed you who my first two teams are going to be for my first game. And we got Cincinnati and we got Baltimore. All right, guys. Well, you take care. Have a good one. And I will see you next time. Oh, and I want to say my last two videos, I've got about 50 views on both. I'm not 50 views on both of them, but combined, I got about 50 views on the two videos. I've got an extra subscriber, so I'm up to 43 subscribers. So that's I have to thank you for watching my videos. If you like what you see, subscribe, turn on notifications, and post any comments of teams that you would like me to see me play. I've only got the 64, 65, and the 73, 74 sets as of now. I do want to get the Blam set, and I did send an email to Keith about getting the rest of the 2021 set, because I would like to maybe play a few of those games as well. But until next time, guys, I hope you like this video. Please hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, post comments, and enjoy the game, guys.